This is a SportsE Media production, part of QuietLoud Studios, the podcast network where reflection meets amplification.
Here at SportsE Media, I work in the sports department, writing blogs and reaching out to athletes and interviewing them on my podcast, Athlete Chronicles. Big thanks to Jesse Marsh for recommending this internship position to me, and also to Eric Kasimov for believing in me and giving me this opportunity to be a part of this company as an intern. I'd recommend SportsE Media to any sports fan out there. They're doing tremendous stuff in regards to allowing people to look at sports through a more detailed lens with the athletes they have on and talk to, as well as the very qualified individuals they have working on blogs, social media posts, whatever it may be. Believe me, if you are interested in getting involved with podcasts and creating content in general, this is the place to be. You can reach out to them at sportse.media. Hello and welcome to another episode of Athlete Chronicles, where we talk with athletes who have created history and continue to be at the top of their game. Running. A lot of people do it, whether it's for exercise, pleasure, socializing, competitions, whatever it may be. It serves kind of, a different purpose for different people. For those who have never competitively ran before, you may just think that it's one foot in front of the other, but just as simple as that. But it's not like that at all. In fact, I just asked Kai Robinson about his, infamous steeplechase race to get a glimpse of how gruesome, the sport can be. In this episode, I'm pleased to be joined by an incredible distance runner who specializes in the 10K and 5K and was actually a teammate of Kai Robinson's at Stanford. He is a 5-time All-American, 3-time All-Pac-12 cross-country first team, 2-time All-West region cross-country, broke the national sophomore record in the 3K with an 8:13, and won 6 Gatorade State Athlete of the Year honors in high school, 3 in track and 3 in cross-country. Ooh. He hails from Littleton, Colorado, and just finished his senior year with plans to continue his running career while enrolling in a master's program at Stanford. Welcome, Cole Sprout.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So, like I just mentioned, you decided that 4 years of academics at Stanford wasn't enough, not hard enough. So, and then you wanted to get your master's in computer science. So, how did you come to this decision?
Yeah, I guess it was for a couple different reasons. I had a couple seasons of eligibility left from COVID. So I had a cross-country season and an indoor track season left that I was just going to throw away basically if I graduated in the spring and did something else, go pro or get a job, I guess. And so I was kind of like thinking about the idea of trying to use that last remaining eligibility somehow. And also, just as I was getting towards the end of my academic career, I was just thinking that it could be cool to prolong it a little bit more. I think since I was there, the idea of a master's program was appealing, and it's pretty common to do what Stanford calls the coterminal program, where you can kind of stack on an additional master's degree while you're kind of finishing out your undergrad and just go straight into that next program. So it's a pretty seamless transition, and I figured I might as well apply and see what happens. And I guess after I got into that program, I talked to my coach, and for especially for endurance running, endurance sports, like the more time, the better for getting into shape and really refining your fitness. So we talked about redshirting the spring season outdoor track, and he was pretty on board with that. So it was just a pretty easy decision to give myself a whole 3 seasons of eligibility for the next year. So it just kind of lined up really well to come back, do some more school, more running, best of both worlds, really. So couldn't say no.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, nice full year coming up. I mean, I'm sure your runners at other schools in the Pac are just happy to hear that Cole Sprout's coming back.
Uh-huh.
So have you always wanted to pursue computer science?
No, no, I didn't really know what it was until I got to college. Other than what you hear in movies, I guess. Like that's how little I knew. I took one robotics class in high school, freshman year of high school, and that was like baby coding. So it was like, and they had barely counted, if at all. And yeah, I guess like some of my friends, like Jude, one of my buddies who's not on the team, but just know him from our crossing paths in Park City, Utah, our freshman year. He was taking a computer science class, and so was another teammate of mine. And I figured I might as well try it since it's like world renowned in like our computer science program. So took one of those classes, and I just really enjoyed the puzzle like puzzle likeness it had and problem solving. So I just took more and didn't go for my undergraduate. I didn't go strictly computer science for my degree because I did like some of the more behavioral sciences on the side. So I ended up doing a major called symbolic systems, which is mostly computer science, but supplemented with some of the cognitive sciences like psychology, philosophy, and linguistics. So it's pretty helpful for a general breadth of knowledge when it comes to things like artificial intelligence, which ended up being my concentration for the major. So it's kind of nice to break up like the STEM, very analytical side of things with some softer sciences and almost like art, creativity. So yeah.
Smart man. I mean, saying that to comm major, some of those words don't really make any sense.
Oh, hey. No. A lot of them, yeah. I mean, part of it was like, oh, this is like a buzzword. So AI, like, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll do that. And yeah, it's harder. It's a lot harder than I thought it would be. So yeah, it's not as exciting as it seems. It's a lot of math. So there's that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Trying to make a difference in the world. Good stuff. Good
yeah,
stuff.
man. Trying.
Yeah. So obviously, like you said, you have one more year left.
Yeah.
And this year, might look a little different because Stanford has gone from Pac-12 to ACC. So what's kind of your view on that transition? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's kind of your stance?
Honestly, I think I like it. I've been in the Pac-12 for the past 4 years, and I think I'm excited to try something new. The ACC is a pretty stacked conference when it comes to cross country and track. So, we're going to have to really lock in, step up our game when it comes to showing up to the cross and indoor and outdoor conference meets. But I think, it's good for us and it's good for the conference. It's good for the sport. So I'm excited just to see like how that shakes out and to try something new, I guess. But I guess ultimately it doesn't change a lot in terms of our competition schedule. We do a lot of invitational style racing early in the season. So, lots of schools competing all together against each other. So from that side of things, it's pretty much the same, but conference will be a little bit different. And that's kind of it. So I feel bad for the other sports, the footballs and the basketballs who are actually having to travel like way more and way farther, because that does suck for them. I'm sure, but I don't know. Maybe they'll get a private jet out of it. So that's a plus.
Nice little PJ action for the cross country and track team. I don't see why not.
Yeah, man. I hope so, but yeah, almost definitely not.
So let's talk a little bit about your time at Stanford and kind of how you got there. I mean, obviously you're one of, if not the best high school runner to come from Colorado. You won 7 state championships, doubling in the 1600 and 3200 in 2018, 2019. Obviously, in addition to your cross-country titles, and you were the first Colorado high school runner to break 9 minutes for the 3200 in a run race in Colorado. So you definitely caught the eye of some college coaches. So what was the recruiting process like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely stressful. It's a big decision. And especially in that moment, it feels like the biggest decision you've made up to that point, because in a way it kind of is. So, when I'm talking to different coaches, it could be hard to like parse out what I was really looking for, what I even wanted in a school and in a coach, in a team. And so, yeah, thankfully, like I had really consistent performance in high school and got a lot of attention for that. So I talked to a lot of coaches, and yeah, honestly, it made it harder because I liked a lot of the different philosophies and promises I heard. So it was kind of hard to figure out like what was real, what wasn't, and what I actually really wanted in the next 4 years I would spend in a program and in a school. But I mean, ultimately, it was, yeah, a really fun experience. I got to go visit. I only ended up taking 3 official visits, but I took one to Stanford and Colorado and University of Washington. So those 3, and it's cool to go out and like just spend the weekend with a group of guys and meet the team, the coaching staff, get a tour of the campus. Like, yeah, it's a pretty special opportunity. So I was stoked to have that opportunity and then to go on some visits and talk to so many coaches. But ultimately, yeah, Stanford just felt like the best fit academically, athletically, and yeah, especially when it came to the people, the coaches, and the team itself. Like that felt like one of the most important pieces because I'd be spending so much time around those guys and around that coach. Like it mattered a lot to me. And also, I wanted to be somewhere where if I was injured or not performing the way I wanted to be, I would still be happy and satisfied and challenged. And academically, Stanford felt like that fit. So, yeah, it was a hard decision, but I think I made the right one. I'm sure of it. But
Oh yeah, it's definitely a fun, exciting process. But I mean, when it comes down to the end, it's a really difficult one. But obviously, I think you do too, that you made the right decision. So that's always a nice feeling.
yeah, it is.
So did you always, like, when did you know that you wanted to run in college?
I think it was probably sophomore year of high school. No, I guess freshman year of high school after I ran state for the first time. I was second place. And like, I think it was that moment that I thought that I actually had a shot at competing in college. To be honest, I hadn't really thought of it at all before then, but just being in high school, like that's the next logical step to take, even though I was a freshman, like that's still something I had started to think about. And after seeing some early success, it was even more something that I was thinking about and people were maybe talking about. So yeah, I wasn't really sure of it until maybe end of sophomore year, going into junior year, like that it was a possibility. Like I hadn't talked to coaches until that point. But yeah, once I was able to talk to coaches and gauge their interest and kind of realize within myself that I wanted to do that yeah, it was an option.
Wow, that's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you only got a couple years to work with before you got to, make your decision. So that's
Yeah.
pretty, gutsy of you to do that. Good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, part of it is luck. Like you never know how consistent you will be in terms of performance. So yeah, in a way, like there is some luck involved. Like my body just was very responsive to the training I was doing. But I mean, I don't know. I guess like you're so relatively young that you don't really know, like, I don't know, like I'm not really taking that much into account when I was making decisions like what school do I go to, like relative to later in life when things get a little more challenging, a little bit more murky. It was a pretty easy choice to make. Like, oh yeah, I'd like to do a sport and go to school better than, I don't know, a lot of other things. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I like that mindset. That's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
So when you're training now at Stanford versus your training in Colorado in high school, how has your running schedule differed from what it was when you're in high school to now?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot more running for sure than in high school. That's one difference. It's, yeah, I mean, intensity wise, volume wise, like it's a lot more rigorous and a lot more time consuming and demanding. So that's been an adjustment, I guess. But any increase that I do see within my training has come gradually. So it's not something that was super hard to adjust to. And I guess another pretty big difference for me was in high school, I didn't have many guys to train with and run with on a day-to-day basis and in workouts. So when I came to college, that was like one of the first times where I had consistent training partners and the support system that offered. So that was a pretty cool difference that I saw immediately, and something that I was looking forward to in college, because it can get pretty difficult mentally just to like show up and be like, yeah, I'm just going to have to find it within myself to do this workout, even though it's very difficult and I don't necessarily feel like it or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that was really cool to have that. And I guess too, at a place like Stanford, there is a higher academic requirement, you could say. That isn't, I mean, obviously it depends what you do. You can pick an easy major, I guess, if you want. But I think a lot of athletes, a lot of people who are attracted to Stanford are attracted to the academic rigor. So it's not uncommon that you'll have student athletes pick up a relatively challenging course load. And that's definitely a big adjustment, time management wise, to fit all of your commitments in academically and athletically while still getting the recovery and sleep you need. So that's a big one. It's hard to perfect.
Definitely. Yeah, my dad, he ran track and cross country at Duke, and then my brother, he ran for a couple years in college. And they'd always go out on like 10, 12-mile runs, and it'd just be like, why are you doing this by yourself? Like, this doesn't sound fun at all.
It's understandable. Yeah, you have to get to like it's a very slow build to where you get to the point of, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this 10-mile easy run. Like, it takes a while for it to actually become an easy run, I think. So it takes some commitment to get to that point. But once you do, it's pretty incredible, because it feels like you're just out there flying without much effort. So it's, that's the runner's high right there. So it's not all the time, but when it happens, it's pretty sick. Yeah.
That's what they'd always talk about, the runner's high.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty elusive. But even when I come back from a break or something, every run pretty much hurts. And, I'm like, oh, my legs are sore. My chest feels tight. Like, so I'm like, I completely understand the barrier to entry there. Like, it takes a while, but you gotta give it time, and then it'll be good. That's the thing.
For sure. Yeah. So you mentioned that you now train with a team when you did in high school. So now that we know more about you, let's kind of take a deeper dive to getting to know the Stanford team a little bit better. So we're just going to ask a couple rapid fire questions just to get to know the team a little better. So who is always late to the team meetings or practice?
Oh, I guess in my 4 years it's changed, but early on, a guy who would always be late is Charles Hicks. If you're familiar with him, he won cross nationals a couple years ago, and he was like chronically late. And I think the team and or coach bullied him enough that he turned over a new leaf and like was never late again. So he's a great, what you call it, like redemption story. Like he turned himself around. But we have, I guess, like to this day, the Sherrys are pretty shaky on reliably being to practice on time, especially Callum. Sorry, Callum, but yeah. It's a roll of the dice whether or not they're on time. Honestly, I'm like pretty consistent, but I have my days for sure. But we recently invoked this system where every minute you're late, you pay $1. So that's helped kind of decrease the tardiness. So I'd say we're generally pretty good, honestly, at this point.
I mean,
Yeah.
a dollar's a lot in college. You can't afford to waste one.
No. Oh, especially in practice every day, that it adds up pretty quick. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So, I mean, obviously, Stanford's known for their academics, like you said, and I think a lot of people know that. So, who would you say is the smartest? Like, if someone had to be asked a question about anything, like, who would you want to be asked that question to get the right answer?
Oh, and get the right answer. Oh, that's a good.
Key.
I was gonna be like, yeah, there's guys who think they know everything on the team, but then sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, no, you don't. So there's a confidence aspect, but guys who actually do. Okay, I would say like we have two. Well, we have multiple sets of twins, but two guys, the topper twins, are very, very smart. Nolan or Galen, I'd say, like, if you ask, I think Nolan, like, this guy, if you ask him, he's pretty much memorized every statistic related to, like, credit card information you could imagine.
That's crazy.
You could, like, ask him, oh, yeah, what's, like, the best card for, comboing miles and groceries? And he'd, like, pull out some, like, he'd just know it. So it's just absurd, like the most niche facts, So he's a guy, and I think he also has memorized like the whole NFL starting, like for every team, he knows the starting line of every NFL team, which is like also very insane. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll put my money on him if I wanted to know an answer to a question and actually get the question right. That's who I'm going to.
Sounds like a good answer. I mean, you better not show him like your credit card number or anything, but.
Oh no, yeah, he would memorize it. Absolutely, yeah.
Who would you say is, just the funniest person like on the team that just can always make you laugh?
Yeah, Thomas. He's almost always accidentally funny. Not, I say like half and half. He tries to be funny, but then honestly, like half the time he's not trying to be funny. It's even funnier though when he is trying. And yeah, he's great. He's a great person to be around.
Like, when he's trying to be funny, like, does he just say stuff or does he just like do weird things or what is it?
Nah, yeah, he does weird things and like he knows when he'll like look around and like try to make eye contact with me when he's like trying to like make a joke or do something weird and like in a funny way. And most of the time it hits, but sometimes, like the whole team be like, nah, man,
it's like,
just walk it back. You're done. Cut that out. But yeah, because he's a big talker. Like he's got an engine like you wouldn't believe. Like I don't know how he has a social battery and the bandwidth to just talk as much as he does. But with that volume of conversation, like he's just outputting it, like he's just brute force trying to make a joke hit sometimes. And so you're like, all right, please stop. It's like iteration 15 of like a joke, like, all right, it's dead. Let it die. So sometimes there's moments like that, but other times he's just like the funniest person actually. So yeah, it's amazing.
Nice little mix and mash.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who do you think is the most likely to win the lottery but lose the ticket afterward?
I would probably say, like Leo Young. He's also another twin on the team. And yeah, I think he's lucky, but he's also like absent-minded at times. And I don't know, it just would make sense. Like, he won a lottery and then, I don't know, he just like misplaced a ticket somewhere. And I'll be like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I can just see it going down. That's so tough.
So, I mean, obviously you spend a lot of time running, by yourself and with the team. When you're at Stanford, what is the team's go-to activity outside of running?
Ooh, when it's warm out, it's usually going out to the field near our dorm and playing spike ball or some guys like to run routes, so we'll have like Thomas throwing the football, and either usually it's the Topper twins, just like trying to like cover each other, like someone's trying to catch, someone's trying to block, and it's like the funniest thing ever because they're literally like genetic copies. So it's the most even matchup you'll ever see. But yeah, it's great entertainment. Otherwise, like if we have the time, we'll go out to a beach nearby, Half Moon Bay or Santa Cruz, down in that area. That's super fun. We'll do like a bonfire sunset type of thing. Yeah, I'd say that's consistently like what we try to do as a team, or just movie nights. Honestly, we'll do a lot of movie nights.
Sounds like a good time. If you weren't running, what would you do? Like sport wise, like do you get out and throw the football or play spike ball, or are you just like a watcher?
Nah, I'm definitely participating. I love spike ball, and if my body will allow it, I love football. Now, I wouldn't like. I'm not that good at all, but like it's fun for sure. I don't know. Like before I ran, I played tennis for a long time, so I could see myself still be doing that, or I could see myself if I wasn't running playing tennis a lot. Or I also mountain bike raced before running, so I think that was like part of the allure of distance, like endurance sport, and maybe like why I was like pretty good at it from the start. And yeah, and I love being outside, especially being from Colorado. Like there's tons of really good trails, so I could totally see myself. And I still like mountain biking, but I could totally see myself doing that a lot more, even like road biking, that type of thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean this sport's definitely, it had to be of some help to get to where you are now.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, it's time to take a deeper dive into your actual races now. So you've raced in some pretty high stake races. How do you best prepare for your races to be able to form at the highest level you can possibly be? Maybe you add in some pre-race beet juice, or
Yeah,
maybe sleep in an altitude tent.
dang.
But what do you do?
The strats, yeah. Both of those things are, yeah, part of the routine. I love my beetroot shots before races. I'll usually, if it's a big race, then I'll start taking it like 7-ish days out, because that has an even greater effect, even to like the skeletal level, which, yeah, at least the adaptation wise, like of the beetroot juice, like it helps expand vessels, vasodilate, and raise a little bit your lactate threshold. So I think like the sweet spot is like 8 days. So I'll do that. I stopped sleeping in the altitude tent this past year, but I'm gonna get back on it because I feel like I have it, and I feel like it does help. And I have my own room next year, so I don't have to worry about annoying Kai with my breathing machine, because it's really loud and obnoxious. So I'm gonna throw that back in the routine. And besides the physical prep, there's a fair amount mentally that goes into just getting into the headspace of going out for a very competitive, very fast race. So I like to visualize a bit what I want the race, or how I want the race to go, but I'll also visualize, if something goes different or something goes bad, somebody like kind of like trips and I fall or something, like how do I respond? And so I kind of build up confidence in that way by just imagining like different scenarios and how I'd react, and kind of make that a little bit more ingrained into my pattern of thinking. And especially if it's cross country, you're on an actual course, and it's kind of nice to visualize what that looks like, where you see yourself in the pack and where you're making moves, that type of thing. But I mean, very often, most of the time, it doesn't actually end up even close to how you imagine it. So, but I think it's a nice practice just to like get your mind in that space of like, all right, we're about to go put out a hard effort. So I enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about during your races? I mean, if you really even think at all, or do you just kind of shut your mind off and just go?
Yeah, it's ideal to just shut the mind off. I try to do that as long as possible, especially if it's something as long as a 10K. The first half is just all about being as relaxed as possible. So I'll really just try to focus on the rhythm, getting into rhythm, and not worry about too much. And for the first half of that long of a race, track wise anyway, you're not really hurting at that point. So pretty easy to shut your brain off and not think about too much, not think about like lap count or splits and things, which can just take up energy. But yeah, later into the second half of the race, like as things start to pick up and it's important where you are position wise, then I'll start to re-engage and kind of be more attuned to like what's going on. So yeah, so that's about what I try to do. But yeah, some days it hurts earlier on and more than other days. So then it's just kind of it's still trying to stay as calm as possible, but also you're kind of negotiating with yourself, like, I know it hurts, but like everybody else is hurting too. So just keep going. Maybe it'll start to feel better as the body warms up or whatever else, like whatever you can kind of do to make yourself keep going. But on the best days, that doesn't really happen. You're usually feel really good and don't have to hurt too much. And if you do, it's towards the end of the race and you're kind of just taking it home at that point. So it's all it is.
Just adapt and overcome. That's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, but in regards to
Mm-hmm.
the tent and the beaches, I asked Jude if there was anything funny I should bring up, and he said y'all used to make fun of you with the altitude tent. So
Yeah. Oh no, it's very obnoxious. So it should be made fun of for sure. Like it's this little box that's like belly button up, that like sits over me. And
uh,
yeah, it's like the craziest thing. Like it just looks so geriatric. Like I'm on my last leg, like I'm in an iron lung type of situation. So it's special. But if it makes me faster, I'll tank it.
it's coming back.
It's coming back. It's coming back. I know.
Now, outside of track, you have an NIL deal with the shoe On, which has become
Mm,
a very, very popular shoe. So how did this start? How did you get this NIL deal?
yeah, I think partially I have my parents to thank for it because while I was competing and at certain races, I guess my mom like just started talking to one of the on athlete representatives. So they kind of built a bit of a relationship and, like I knew of him because he'd been talking to my parents. And so I kind of set up a phone call one day and, we sat down and talked about, what that might look like because there was, like I heard through the grapevine, like a few of my friends are also on sponsored athletes. So just heard from some different people that there might be some interest there. So yeah, we just talked and ended up kind of on the same page that could be of mutual interest and could be worth kind of working alongside each other just to see like, especially in terms of professional career, like could be helpful to start building a relationship now. So yeah, that was kind of the idea behind it. And it's been pretty fantastic up to this point.
Wow. Not every day
Yeah,
that, NIL deals, usually start with your parents.
I
It's a
know.
unique story.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, I know my parents are both, they're socially engaging, charismatic. So I guess got them to think, they've gotten me a lot of the way here. So always got to thank them.
Exactly. Are there any other, brands that you want to work with?
On it, like there have been different brands. Like for one, the Beetroot Juice company or the brand that I use, like I reached out to them once about like, hey, you want to like
Sponsor
collaborate, do a
me.
deal here, sponsor me. And they're like, oh yeah, maybe like this next month. And, nothing really happened there. So no, but maybe I'll reach out at some point again. But yeah, I try to limit like who I would do deals with or collaborations with, in terms of like what I would actually use, like what products that I actually value and could passionately and accurately represent. So yeah, so that's a piece of it. Right now, like I'm really looking for any additional deals. I've done a few smaller ones too, like with the watch brand Garmin. I did like a small thing with them, got a watch out of it, and it was pretty cool just to like, I guess, represent myself in that kind of situation. Like what it's kind of good experience business wise. Like it's very uncommon that you're like negotiating, oh yeah, I'm actually worth XYZ. So yeah, good experience. But yeah, as of right now though, yeah, I'm pretty in love with the collaboration I have going on right now, the partnership.
That's huge. That's huge. That's all you need.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It really is. I mean, it's got me here in Zurich, Switzerland right now. So
Cool.
I've really enjoyed my time with On up to this point.
Good. And I know you're also very involved in helping communities. You're involved with the Denver rescue mission, and then you also took part in a mission trip to Ethiopia. Can you just like describe what those experiences were like and why you decided to get involved with them?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I went to a Christian school in Colorado, and that's a big aspect, an important pillar, I guess, of Christianity, the Christian faith, like outreach and helping the people around you, giving back to the community. So that's a value ingrained in the school I went to and in my own belief system. So and Valor, the school I went to, facilitates a lot of cool outreach programs. So the Denver outreach, at least one of them was through high school, and yeah, we spent like a weekend or like almost a week down in Denver working with some of the soup kitchens and homeless shelters. So pretty cool to be like that close to home doing something like an outreach program, because I think most people think of like mission trips or like community like outreach and think, international or going to a very disadvantaged place or community. And yeah, it's, I think, more personal too, to being able to give back and just learn honestly about the disadvantaged communities in the place we live. Like I live like 20-30 minutes away from the heart of Denver. And yeah, I think for me, like even something like that, it offers a lot of new perspective. And I think more importantly, it humanizes a situation that I can't really relate to from my own upbringing. And so to at least like kind of learn from people who have gone through or experienced homelessness and or are still like in that situation, like it's pretty moving and eye-opening, because it's just like so different than what I've experienced in my life so far. So yeah, great experience. And then yeah, I went to Ethiopia for a couple weeks in high school with my cross country team, but was also through the high school I went to. And yeah, at a even like greater scale, like it's such a different lifestyle and world, honestly, than the US, the Western societies that we're all like so used to. Even going out to Europe, like it's just not even really comparable. So yeah, it was again like very eye-opening experience, because like there's people, like it's people who have the same feelings, same everything, like same, well, not same problems, very different problems. So it's like even more eye-opening, because you're like food, water, electricity aren't a given. And we were working at an orphanage, so with children specifically. And again, it wasn't so much as like going out there and doing, like, we helped out and did whatever they needed, but I think a greater purpose of being out there was to, again, just like be there, kind of just listen and be open to the experience and take away as much from it as possible. So yeah, that was, I mean, it's a very influential experience doing something like that. And I think it made me more passionate, like going out doing something for somebody else. Like it is very, I don't know, it just feels good, like human connection, community is so, I think, important and ingrained into what we as humans value, that it is, it's really special to prioritize that. Oh, my window closed for a second. Yeah. So it's I thought we lost the connection, but yeah, it's something that I'd love to like continue doing. I don't feel like I'm, since high school, like had the opportunity or actually created the opportunity to give back to the community as much as I'd want to. So yeah, it's something that I definitely would like to keep doing in my life, whatever that looks like.
Amen. I love that. That's great. Making a positive change in the world. I love that. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So one last question for you. What is your favorite tattoo?
Ooh, it's a cool question. Yeah, I have 10, I think. Small ones, but yeah, kind of a lot. Mostly on my left arm. I think my favorite is this olive branch. This olive branch that I have here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, like I'm a Christian, and a lot of my worldview, inspiration come from that. So I really like the biblical meaning behind the olive branch. When Noah is on the ark and basically like waiting for any sign of land, the dove brings an olive branch as a sign of redemption, like restoration. And I think that's just a very important symbol and important qualities to think about. So yeah, I mean, I just like the idea behind it, and I try to keep those things close to mind. So
That's great. Yeah. I was thinking this summer of getting my my favorite Bible verse tatted, either bicep or like abdomen area, but we'll see if that goes through. My parents, I don't know if they're gonna be on board with it, but we'll see.
No, I don't know, Bible verse, like that's how I got my foot in the door. Is I got a cross on my leg when I was in high school, and my mom was like, "Oh, I can't really say no to that because it's a cross."
Exactly.
Like, so I got her permission. She actually came to the appointment, so it was a sweet moment. But yeah, if it had been anything else, probably no.
I might have to start. Might have to start with a cross and work out.
I know. I feel good about your opportunity, though. I think it'll happen.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, Cole, thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of Athlete Chronicles, and also shout out to Jude Reverson for getting me in touch with you and getting this whole interview started. It's been great talking to you and getting to see what your running journey has looked like. Best luck to you this year in the classroom and with athletics. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Aubrey. It was a great conversation. So thanks for taking the time to reach out to Jude, get us connected.
Shout out SportsE Media for allowing me to have this wonderful opportunity to share these stories of these amazing athletes. You can find Athlete Chronicles anywhere you get your podcast, so stay tuned for upcoming episodes.